And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Guzman. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee. Yesterday on November 1st, we celebrate the feast day of Saints Cosmas and Damianos, my feast day. Saint Cosmas is my patron saint. And so every year we remember these unmercenary healers. They were physicians, they were doctors by trade that used their gifts of healing to be able to help people, and they never took payment. That's why they're called unmercenaries, anargiri, because they never took payment. And so thinking about this idea of having gifts, talents, and using those talents to be able to help others, to help Christ, to help the church, that's something to think about. Because generally we could be doing a lot more in our parishes, in our churches. And we just need to ask people for help. We need to say, hey, you've got talents, you've got abilities. You should be using those to help your church. Now, most of us have talents and we use them to make a living and to be able to provide for our families, or we have hobbies and we use our talents in our hobbies. But do you ever think about really using your talents, your God-given abilities to help your church? Now, some people do. They're active on committees or parish councils or in organizations. We're members of our Philoptochos or our youth programs or different things, our men's clubs and men's groups. But in many cases, we could be doing so much more to help our church. And the church can't do a lot unless the members of the church, the stewards of the church, step up and say, hey, I have this. How can the church use this? How can I use this talent to help the church? And it doesn't tend to happen because, people they just don't know how to go about it. Like, well, who do I talk to? Like, how do I, I might want to help. And I've got probably something to offer, I think, but how do I go about it? Who do I talk to? If there was only somebody at every parish that knew everything that was going on, that knew what was necessary and what was needed, and you could talk to about how to help out. Well, there is, of course, obviously someone, it's a joke, right? There's someone at every parish that can do that, and I'll bet he looks a lot like me. He wears black, he's got a beard, he's your priest. Go talk to your priest, call your priest, pick up the phone and say, hey, Father, you know what? I'd like to help out in some way. How can I help out? And he'll say, well, what do you want to do, right? What are you passionate about? What can you do? What are you good at? And you can have that conversation and say, okay, and we'll figure out together how we can use your gifts and your talents to help your church, because it's a blessing for you. That's the thing. It's not about the church trying to get free labor. It's about sort of saying, well, it's a blessing for me. If I can use my talents to help my church, and in doing what I'm doing, I can bring people to Christ, or I can help people that are out there that need help, I get that blessing, right? I get the benefit of that spiritually. And I want that. I need that in my spiritual life. So we do it for those reasons also. But the reason that our churches don't offer more, it's because our parishioners don't offer more. The reason that we can't do more programs, do more things, the reason that we're not better at things is because we tend to have a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks who sort of sit back on the sidelines, refuse to get in the game and say, you know what, you guys, you don't know what you're doing. And I sort of say, you guys? What do you mean by you guys? This is your church. If your church isn't doing it, how am I to blame and you not to blame? It's your church. You're a member of the church. Just as much as I'm a member of the church, you're a member of the church. And if it's your parish and your parish isn't doing something that you like and you're not lifting a finger to help do it, maybe you should look in the mirror when you point that finger and say, well, why aren't I helping? Surely I have something I can offer. I have, even if it's just time. Time is a huge resource. If you have the time to get involved and do something, and if you have specialty knowledge in certain areas, you happen to know something about computers or about communication or about marketing or about finance or about the law or about insurance, whatever it might be, anything, education, right? Or you can work, you can fix things, you can build things, you can repair things. Doesn't matter what the gift is. The church can use it. And Christ needs it. And it will help people. And it will help bring people to Christ. And that's a blessing for all of us. For you, for me, for all of us. And that's what we need to do. We need to engage our parishioners more. We need to ask them, hey, what do you think? What do you want to be involved in? What are you passionate about? And we can't be afraid of the answer. That's what tends to happen. From a parish administration perspective, we don't ask because we're afraid what we're going to hear. So we just say, no, it's fine. Let's just keep doing it the way that we're doing it. Don't stir up the waters. Don't ask, because when you start asking, you're going to get all sorts of problems. You're going to get some problems, and you have to go through the process of hearing those problems. But guess what? You want to hear those problems. You want to hear those concerns, and you'll work through it, and on the other end, become healthier and become more effective in ministry. We have to engage. We have to ask people, what do you think? What do you want to do? How do you want to get involved? We need you. You have talent. You have gifts. We want to use those gifts. You want to use those gifts to be able to help your church, to be able to bring others to Christ, and to do that each and every day. Amen.